Hello. I was going to do a video about this last night, but I ended up watching Quantum Conscience, like I do every day, and he was talking about the same thing, how politics are not real in any way. It's just another show. Just like all of it, Hollywood, sports ball, the news, political system, it's all a show for us. A lot of people will watch like a movie or something, and then the news will come on, and in their heads they'll kind of start to think like, oh well, this is the real shit, you know. But it's not. It's the same thing, you know. It's the same exact thing. There's no difference. You know, someone rather brilliantly said before that the good-looking people, the good-looking actors go to Hollywood, the ugly ones go to politics, and the real creepy ones go to religion. Because, I mean, religion's another thing. It's the same. It's just a controller, you know. It's a controller and it's a show. It's all a show. When I hear people talk about voting for change, it's so fucking cringe-inducing. I sussed that out a long time ago, even before I understood a lot of how the world worked. I remember I used to go with my dad before I could vote to this little voting place. We'd vote locally. And then when I turned 18, I started going with them. And I think it was like the third time I went. Maybe like 21, 20, something like that. And I remember going there and filling out my little card. And the whole place was full of bingo ladies, old ladies, nice, you know, nice people, a couple old dudes, a couple veterans. No one under 70, right, working here. Maybe a security guard. And I go in and I fill out my little card and I take it and I put it in the cardboard box, you know, with the bingo lady. And I'm like, you know, do my thing. I go home, and a couple hours later, me and my dad are watching the news, and it's giving the results of the election, right? It was a local election, like a state one. It wasn't the presidency or anything, but that doesn't matter. But and I remember sitting there going, wow, what happened in those last 2 or 3 hours? Did they, because they were still open for a little bit after I was there, did they close the building and all the blue-haired ladies started counting up the votes? I don't know if their eyesight's all 20/20. I mean, really? Or did like a government truck show up? Like those ones that, like a Brinks truck that picks up money. Did a truck show up and grab all the votes, all those cardboard boxes with pieces of paper in them, and bring them to a location where they counted them more officially? I mean, how the fuck does that work? How is that possible? It's not. It's not possible. The bingo ladies didn't count them. A special team didn't show up in a truck. Like, none of that happened, you know? Especially not in the 2 hours it took to count all it, to get a result out of it. It's fucking madness. It's madness. And that's kind of when I started to begin to realize, like, hey, this might not be, you know, on the up and up. I thought it might have been just locally, but now it's just how it is. You mark off a little card or you do it in a machine. I don't care how you do it. Your little slip of cardboard or paper or whatever way they do it these days. I don't participate, so I don't know. They probably have it all computerized now, and you know, some other highly leakable way, some other non-secure way, you know, is bullshit. You know, but the whole thing is, like, even if they were to have the sort of powers that their office dictates they do, they would be largely administrators, even up to the president. It would be this administration, that's all it is. But that's not even real. This presidency, they trot a couple dudes out to see who the people respond to the most. Because the one they respond to the most, and that can mean negative too, they just want the most emotion out of the people when it comes to the candidate. Like, Trump's perfect. Like, his fucking people loved him and his enemies hated him. That's perfect for their purposes. So whatever one they get the most jolt out of is the one that ends up winning, or winning in air quotes. Both of them are groomed for many years before this happens, so it could go either way. That's the one thing they do watch, just the response to them. And I mean, they probably determine a year in advance who's going in because they have to set up all this stuff. But they get probably an early idea of which people, or which guy or girl that the unwashed masses are going to listen to when they read the banker's notes. And they go with that guy. Now, your vote, of course, it counts, but it doesn't. The way it counts is that as long as they have a certain amount, a certain percentage of the total population engaging in the voting system, it doesn't matter who you're voting for because it's already sussed out, they can go ahead with their system gets the green light to go ahead. They work in this weird cosmic, karmic kind of way where they have to get you to do it to yourself. You have to choose it. It can't be forced upon you. So, but they play very fast and loose with the rules of this. And they obscure them, of course, so you don't have any idea it's even happening. But as long as enough people participate in the election in some form or other, like they cast a vote or they come out or try to, you know, do some sort of campaigning or something, as long as they get enough people that are willing to take part in choosing the master, they can go ahead with it. And by go ahead with it, it just means continue with, you know, whatever they were going to do, you know, with whatever guy they want to put in, you know. And that's it. As far as who you're voting for, it doesn't matter. Like, even the most normie of normies, I can't understand how you can watch. Well, I guess I kind of do understand, because we're learning a lot of these people aren't actually the same kind of people that, like, you or I are. But whether they're tuned to a certain frequency or whatever it is, you know, that's still being held in abeyance, exactly what the situation is. But whatever it is, there's going to be a large portion of them that just do what they want them to. And that's there as a challenge to you, you know, to challenge your divinity. But yeah, even the normiest of normies, I'm surprised they can't look at this, at the system, at the political system and the whole voting thing and be like, hey, you know, this seems kind of weird. But I don't think people have time to think about it. The way they structure people's lives, constantly chasing money to survive. You know, they have families, or they, you know, here in Hawaii, it's very expensive to live. Average one room family home is $1 million. I think the average rent is $2,500 for like a one bedroom. You have to work constantly. You got to get on that hamster wheel and you got to stay on there. You don't have time to sit around and navel gaze about whether or not the political system is real. So I get it. You know, just there's some people aren't going to see it, and that's okay. As long as enough of us do. That's all we need to reach critical mass. It's about reaching critical mass. You know, this whole thing about, you know, people waking up, you know, a couple of years ago, it looked very positive. Like, wow, people are gonna break out of this sort of sleep. I almost said miasma. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I take a gamble and I throw a word out there, but I didn't even have a good gamble word for that. Miasma, I don't know. I think I'm right. I'm just not pronouncing it right. But it seemed like people were going to break out of that and have this mass sort of awakening. But the mass awakening already has happened. And it's, you know, the few people, you know, like ourselves that follow this kind of stuff. And it's a lot less than, you know, I originally thought and a lot of people thought, but it's enough. But the awareness has to reach a certain level. And I don't know where that is. I don't know what it's measured by. But I believe anyway, once it reaches a sort of critical mass, we can get out of here. Don't know what that is. I don't know when that is. But, you know, the days of trying to wake people up are long gone. I don't try to do that. I had a very short missionary career. It was like maybe a year when I first started, you know, uncovering the real shit. I started just trying to make a list in my mind of people I knew that might be receptive to the message or the understanding that there's something otherworldly, supernatural, whatever happening. And yeah, I was O for O with just about everybody. And what you do is, all it does is push people away from you. You know, first there's the ridicule. Yeah, you're crazy, man. And then there's the anger. Like, fuck you, what are you talking about? And then there's the marginalization, where they just, you know, ignore you. They don't listen to you. And that's the worst, because then you're a non-factor. But usually if they're going to push you to the marginalization, it's not a person that you had any hope of helping anyway. And you're just helping. Because you know, what's the alternative for these people? So this recent study into what people are and what a lot of people are is encouraging, because at least it makes me feel like, well, that's the reason. It's not just I have bad communication skills. I mean, I do, but yeah, I'm gonna go into 333 over here, Ross. Yeah, don't blame the teacher, blame the school. Got nothing against church or the people who go there.